Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. The initial D in the world of One Piece is one of the greatest mysteries that currently exists, because it's a surname that's been forbidden by the Gorosei, and it was also one of the reasons why the events of the Void Century happened. Now, we don't know much about what may have happened in the past to make the Ds considered to be hated or even devils by the Celestial Dragons and the world government, but this event may have had some bearing on the Lost Kingdom or Ancient Kingdom, and even perhaps Joy Boy. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the Void Century, about the information that we have from this event so far, and what might be the reason as why the Celestial Dragons wish to hide this initial of D. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, or even if you've been with us for a bunch of videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like, or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content, and if you'd like to help us out in a bigger way, consider sharing the video or the channel with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So friends, the initial D has always been something that many people in the community have wondered what it could actually mean. But none of us have expected that there would be such a mystery behind this mystical, if not mysterious, initial. However, a fan during a fan question asked Oda-sensei during an SBS what the D in Luffy's name meant. Now, Oda-sensei replied that for now, the D in some characters' names was something that he intended to reveal in the future. So for now, we're only supposed to consider it a simple letter in the name of these characters, which has led fans to create many different theories based on this response of Oda's. Because if he's creating a mystery with this middle initial, then it could be something very important for the entire story of One Piece. Now, even though Oda-sensei has not revealed what this letter really means, he has given us little hints during the course of One Piece, so that in the future, we'll be able to connect these hints together with the true revelation. In the Drum Island arc, it was Dr. Kureha who was the first to mention something related to the D surname. Now, she mentions the existence of the will of D, or something with the determination of the Ds. And it was also Dr. Kureha who revealed that the real name, the Pirate King, was actually Gold D. Roger. Because as you see, the Marines and the world government had gone to certain lengths to hide Roger's real name, so that no one really knew the existence of the D in his surname, and it was only those that were close to Roger that actually knew his real full name. After the Straw Hats leave Drum Island, Dr. Kureha then tells Dalton that Chopper had joined a very dangerous man, of course referring to Luffy, because just like Roger, he also carries the initial D in his name. So this means that at least at some level, Dr. Kureha knows what the initial D means, or at least knows the basics about the danger that this surname carries. I mean, after all, the Celestial Dragons hate people who have this name, so if they find out about Luffy's surname, the world government would hunt him down along with his crew. Another time where the Will of D was mentioned, of course, was through Nico Robin. But unlike Dr. Kureha, who seemed to know something a little more substantial about this name, Robin seemed to know nothing about it. She just seemed to have heard of it and heard mention of it through her readings and study. Robin even goes as far as to ask Luffy about the meaning of the D and why it was said that those with this initial have been fighting for many years for something that no one knows so far. But Luffy really had no idea what she was talking about. During the Skypiea arc, Robin was talking to Gonfall alone, and Gonfall had mentioned a feeling that he had had about Luffy and that he gave him the same impression that Gold D. Roger did, demonstrating that Gonfall might actually know Roger's real name. We also saw that during the Sabati Archipelago arc, Robin asked Rayleigh about the meaning of the Will of D and about the events of the Lost Century, because Rayleigh knew about these events that took place. I mean, after all, he was there with Roger and was his right-hand man. Together, Rayleigh and Roger sailed the seas until they were able to find the One Piece treasure and also discover the truth about the Void Century, about the initial D, and even the existence of Joy Boy. So he indeed had all the answers. But in a strange kind of twist, Rayleigh refuses to talk about the meaning of the initial D, as it was one of the biggest mysteries that exists in that world of One Piece. However, Rayleigh did offer to tell them about the events of the Void Century, but of course, Luffy and Robin refused because they wanted to find out the truth for themselves. It's been widely speculated that the Ds are in fact related to the Ancient Kingdom, and perhaps, although they're not from the same family or bloodline, it still shows a method of connection, and it may represent a clan or something like that in which they all carry the same initial D in their names. It may have even originated from the Ancient Kingdom itself, which was destroyed, of course, 800 years ago, because the 20 kingdoms that came together to form this now world government that we know of wanted to erase this kingdom and any who bear this initial D in their name. So there had to be some kind of big deal relationship kind of thing between these kingdoms that formed the world government and this ancient kingdom. Because what we do know, no matter what the beef or the problem was, we do know that the world government came together to destroy the kingdom and ensure that each survivor had nowhere else to go and were pretty much removed from history. Now, of course, Monkey D. Luffy has never been afraid to hide the D in his name and has spoken openly about it to pretty much anyone. However, there have been Ds that have wished to keep this name hidden, of course, such as Trafalgar Water D. Law, who of course knows all too well the danger of telling people openly about his name and the D in it. In fact, it was Corazon who had told Law that the Celestial Dragons hunted people who had this initial in their name. Along through the story, we also met Jaguar D. Saul, who was of course a friend of Robin's, and although he didn't know the meaning of this initial, he said that everyone in his family carries the surname, so it appears that the D is passed on from generation to generation. So in many ways, it seems that all the D characters may be in fact related to each other, not necessarily by blood, but at least by destiny, because they all carry a determination that we don't know what it may mean, but it does relate to something very important. A great example of this hereditary nature of the D, of course, can be seen in Luffy's own family, the Monkey family, consisting of Monkey D. Luffy, his father, Monkey D. Dragon, and his grandfather, Monkey D. Garp. However, this doesn't necessarily imply that all D bearers are closer related. Some D bearers have had children together, as we saw with Portgas D. Rouge, and of course Gold D. Roger, who had Portgas D. Ace. So there's also been giants even with a D in their name. An interesting scene that we've also gotten is that during a flashback of Roger's, we see him complaining that the world government is calling him Gold Roger instead of his real name, Gold D. Roger. Now Whitebeard is there with him and asks him what the D meant in his name. Of course, in typical Oda style, as Roger starts to tell Whitebeard, the scene fades out before he actually says anything. So we really don't get any information from Roger's dialogue with Whitebeard. But whatever Whitebeard learned, he did end up alluding to it during the Battle of Marineford, saying that taking someone's life with a D could not extinguish the flames of that will, because someone else would eventually inherit the same determination and continue and possibly fulfill Roger's wish. Later, Law wonders aloud what the determination of the Ds could mean, saying that this surname could summon a storm again, just like it did in the past, which may just be a way of saying that the will of D will cause a very big mess in the future. The will of D, or the initial D, could also be related back to Wano, because we saw Luffy and Law team up and ended up defeating a Yonko, causing worldwide confusion, and the events that even are yet to come because of the power vacuum that has just been created could be a way that the Ds are starting to change the world. Now, it's not exactly clear what Law meant by that phrase, but it does suggest also that Rayleigh might kinda know what Law was alluding to. I mean, after all, he did say that he wanted to meet Luffy at Amazon Lily, and it wasn't just because he liked the kid. In the chapters that followed in the aftermath of Marineford, one of the Gorosei stated that the D kinda stands for danger, saying that the D clan is called by another name, and that they're considered enemies of God. And as we also have already alluded to, it may also be linked to Joy Boy, because of course, he does have some responsibility, or at least was responsible for stopping most of the kingdoms from taking over the world. But of course, in the process of doing this, Joy Boy lost his life, which allowed the 20 kingdoms to come together to form the world government. And it was this very formation that allowed the Celestial Dragons to take control over the world, and now consider themselves gods. But the Ds seem to exist to remove these people from power, and it's for this reason that they may be considered something on the level of a demon. Another clue we got was from Rosanate, where he said in their home country, where the Celestial Dragons are located, it said that children who misbehave would be eaten by a D clan member, thus causing the children to develop a hatred from an early age for the people of this surname. And the Celestial Dragons always seemed quite wary of the storm that those with the initial D were known to cause. And Rosanate explained to Law that D was secretly inherited throughout the world and throughout history. As we neared the end of this current Wano arc, when news of Kaido and Big Mom's defeat had spread worldwide, the Gorosei ordered the D in Monkey D. Luffy's name to be removed immediately on his bounty poster, but failed apparently due to a miscommunication. And for whatever it means, apparently all these D clan members all share a deep desire for freedom and possess a great amount of determination to achieve their dreams and help the dreams for those people around them, showing proving that they do not give up, even if it means giving their life to achieve this goal. It also seems that Marines who have a high rank within the actual organization seem to have some knowledge about what this initial D can mean, since Sengoku showed a great interest in Ace because of it. Now, Sengoku might have wanted Ace because he was Roger's son, but it seemed that because he also carried the D in his name, that this kind of put a little extra oomph on Ace's crimes and Sengoku's want to have him put to death. And in another scene, when Sengoku is explicitly asked by Law if he knows the meaning of the Will of D, he gives a vague answer, but also seems to be shocked to discover that Law carries that very initial and thinks about the fate of people who carry the initial D in their names. And Law's own parents also seem to have some knowledge about what the D stood for, because they kept this surname hidden and insisted that he only use the other names that were in and didn't involve the letter D. But of course, Gold D. Roger is the only D who really seems to know what this initial means. And so far, what it may mean is that it's something that has to do with those that search for the One Piece, and may even have to be a requisite for one to discover what the true history is and the treasure itself. And since Luffy is following in the very same steps to become king of the pirates, hopefully very soon, he, and us by way of readers, will be able to get the answers as to what the initial D means, and why those who carry the surname are so hated by the Celestial Dragons and the world government. But for now, friends, I'd love to know what you think about it. What do you think the initial D actually stands for? And why do you think it has such a mystique and is so hated by the world government? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we finish up our video, I want to thank you so much for watching it all the way to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, why don't you go ahead and give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.